makes a good partnership between a vendor and a distributor, John?
First of all, honesty. Yeah, that really does come through, right? So go back to the, look, this is going to take some hard lifting and white to the eyes type conversation and some scary moments along there where maybe things weren't going in a straight path. Okay, so I think honesty. And do you know what? In the early days, sometimes we didn't do deals through distribution, but it was about being honesty and telling them why not and being upfront about it. Yeah, because even if you didn't tell them, they'd find out anyway. Okay, because they've got the relationships in those partners that you haven't. I think the other piece is, and again, my old mate Driscoll said this, distribution measures itself maniacally. And we've got some top caliber individuals who help manage our distribution and relationships. And we're very clear about what we ask them to do. And I don't think we were particularly clear in the first few years, if I'm honest. Now there's a clarity around what it is that we're asking them to do. So we run scorecards with our distributors in each country. And those scorecards are measuring the relationship both ways. They scorecard us, we scorecard them.
Very open and transparent.
Very open and transparent, okay? And some of those scorecards are measuring how many meetings have you got us, how many new partners have you onboarded, how many opportunity registrations have come in through that door from those partners, what's closing. So there's a very clear path as to how they can get to revenue, so they can see that. Yeah. But we're measuring it and we're tweaking it almost every week of the month, if not every day of the month. And then the other thing we've done, which is worth mentioning, is that we're not omnipresent throughout Europe and the Middle East. So there are countries where we don't have in-field operations, and we've started to trust those in-field operations to our distributor. So if you have a look at Exclusive in the Middle East, we have a jointly funded head that's out there, Rami, and he's selling Tanium, and he's supporting the partnerships out in the Middle East to go and do that and representing Tanium when he does it. So it's a very, very interlinked, and very, very, I think, cohesive relationship that does take stress. So if you have a look at Jesper, he has a relationship with my global head of channels, Todd. They know each other. They've been together in RSA this week. And all the way through those organisations, there are touch points. And it's really, really key that we have those touch points.
What about between the vendor and the partner? How tricky a relationship is that? So say, for instance, Bytes or Softcat or Computer Centre, whoever it is, how difficult is it to establish a good relationship with them?
So establishing that relationship is difficult, particularly if at the time you've only got 5 customers in Europe, right? But I think first of all, we hired well. We put some established channel and sales professionals into our channel sales organisation, and people that could get a foot through the front door. And those folk could sell the value proposition, they could position Tanium, they could take away some of the myths, and they could identify the accounts where we would directly be in disruptive with, because we're a very disruptive technology. Those accounts were having their heads turned by Tanium, and there was a kind of a great meeting of the minds where you've got the end user having their head turned by Tanium and probably talking to the partners and saying, hey, have you heard about these guys from Tanium? They look really cool. Well, this is what they do, saying they can do that. Have you ever heard of them? While at the same time, Matt Salter's knocking on the door of Computer Centre saying, hey, do you remember me? Used to work with you in a previous life, done a great job for you when I worked for that other vendor. I want to talk to you about Tanium. And the two worlds collide. The doors open, and then we go in with our direct sales teams. We go through an account mapping exercise. So where are we both relevant to each other? There are always going to be areas where we compete, because those partners have got to go to market with other vendors, and that's great. Okay, that's what you call co-opetition. But there are going to be some accounts where we can work together and should work together. And we took on a planning mentality to do that in terms of how we would approach accounts, how we would keep each other updated, and what the rewards would be for each partner if we traversed that path and got to a path to closure.
Vendor spawn has become sort of a major problem. So the issue sort of developed with channel partners having or reselling a wide variety of vendors in a fairly uncontrolled manner, to be fair, let's be honest. End users struggling to understand which technology to go for, which is the gaps. How can resellers develop a sort of a more consolidated offering and so they know what they're talking about? Because I see, this is what I see, John, most time, and I've got lots of friends in resellers. I see most times, and I hear about most times, vendor, I'm not saying Tanium, vendor A comes in, brings a load of pizzas and says it's Mexican Day or something like that, puts a sombrero on, gives them a little 2-hour pitch, and off they go. And then they're expecting suddenly that's going to be, loads of orders coming through, and then they come the next month and then wonder why it hasn't happened. But if loads and loads of vendors are doing that, if I'm a reseller salesperson, I wouldn't know who to actually start selling or who to recommend to my end user client. So how is this vendor sprawl happening, and how can actually resellers consolidate and actually make it viable?
Yeah. Look, we've all had Taco Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So, and we've all had overloads on tacos as well. But look, I think
it still goes on, John.
It does go on, and you can walk into or probably not so much these days, right? But I remember walking through the reception when I was working at Good Technology, and you'd walk into the reception of a partner, and there would be 80 plaques on a wall. Okay, and at that point in time, I think that was the right thing to do. People wanted every single vendor in the portfolio. They wanted customers to tell them what it was they wanted to buy, and they were saying, here's my portfolio, which one do you want? Yeah. It's changed. The world's changed, right? Buyers are much more educated, and partners have to be a lot more educated. Partners have to offer an opinion these days, and they have to back that opinion up around the technology that they're selling. And the gaps are either things that are missing or things that are time-bound and different over time. So you want one platform to give you one story at one point in time. And that's what a platform does for you, okay? Coinciding with that, and you take that into the partner landscape, partners are spending a fortune on enablement and accreditation because everyone wants their partners to be capable of selling. But if you've got 80 plaques up on the wall and you want to be gold for every one of those, that's an awful lot of cost in your business as a partner. So you too have vendor sprawl, you too have cost issues, you too have visibility issues because your staff are disseminated across too many technologies, you're spending too much money on accreditations and certifications for different vendors that are ultimately competing with each other and don't talk, and you too need to take choices. And that vendor consolidation, I think, is happening as much as it is in the end user marketplace, really, as it is in the channel marketplace. First of all, economics is driving it, and then the need of IT is driving it. And that's what we're seeing. Yeah, we're seeing, look, we've got these 8 different vendors, and actually the combined cost of running those 8 different vendors and the performance we get from it isn't what it needs to be. If we put one vendor in across a platform, here's how we can perform.
Would they potentially lose deals though like that? Because I look at partners, and I'm an end user, small end user, but I'd look at a partner. I wouldn't care if they had an HP gold badge, a Cisco gold badge, or whatever gold badge. But I might not use them if they couldn't sell, for instance, Tanium. Oh, you're going to sell me HP laptops? Yeah. Can you install Tanium? No, I can't. Right. Okay. Maybe I need to go somewhere else. So does it actually penalise them as well? Because if they're trying to get all these badges but they can't sell all these solutions, does it sometimes penalise them as well?
Look, I think you compensate specialisation. Yeah. For a diversity piece. Yeah. In terms of the number of products you're taking out to market, you go deeper with fewer. You can add more meaningful value to your customer. All of a sudden your margin stack, your revenue stack starts to change. It's not just about the margin in the product. It's about the margin in the deployment, the advisory services, the managed services, the level 1 and level 2 support that you can provide along with that. And I think partners have also had to change around that in terms of what they take to market and the skill sets that they take to their customers. So yep, I think there's been a mindset where it's like, I don't want to lose any vendor spend at all in this account. And look, there's still badge holders that sit across that diversity, but it's like, but where do I want to go deep? And I think that's where we come in.